One of the number one things that we hear from you is, I'm afraid that you're going to tell me I cannot spend my money. And we know that this is a big hurdle to get over because you're so worried about having to restrict yourself that you're afraid to open the door to even considering the B word, having a budget, having a plan. And this is something that we talk a lot about in our space. What we want to talk to you today is about how you can and should be able to spend your money freely. And a big piece of that puzzle comes from the method that we teach inside Mind Her Business. We just covered it on a masterclass that we held, and it's within our LAB method, the LAB method that we teach. Look, align, and build a plan. And Becca, I want you to explain to our audience, for those that are listening today, what is the align section of the LAB method look like in terms of how they can spend their money and should spend their money freely?
So I know the word align can be thrown around kind of like a lofty goal, right? Like in alignment, we're going to align things for you, but we want to give you the visual. So on the one hand, you have your goals, right? Let's say your goal is to travel to, one of the women in the masterclass said she wants to go to Greece, right? So your goal is to go to Greece. And then you have over here on the other side, you have your actual spending where your money is already being spent. And in the A portion, the align portion of the method, what we do is we teach you how to take that goal and to take your current spending and change it or reallocate what you're spending so that you actually have the money that you want to spend on the thing that you want, right? So what we find, we're already spending money. All of us are. Every single one of us already spend our money somewhere. In the align portion of the method, you get to determine, is that where you like spending your money, or where you're spending it now leaves you no room or no money left to spend it where you actually would love to be using your money. That's like most of the time we hear travel. I don't know, travel is a big one. People want to,
Most people said travel.
most people, I would say 95% of the people said travel. And what we're seeing is y'all make some money and the money's gone, and we haven't seen you take a vacation yet. We haven't seen you get to travel. And so when we tell you, when we use the B word, when we put together a plan or a budget, it is literally to give you the guardrails or the boundaries so you can keep moving forward, making money and using that money to get to your goals rather than just like making money and spending it, making money and spending it. And let me give you a couple of examples. So it can be as small as, I don't want to, we have a client and a friend who says, I do not want a budget unless I can have blowouts in my budget. And we're like, perfect. How many blowouts do you want a month? How much do they cost? What would be like gravy on top of that? What's another goal that you want to have? Then we have another client. Well, Marley, let's touch on Marley. Marley has to have an eating out part of her budget. Like that is part of their family culture. They enjoy spending time together when they're out to eat.
I
And
have
so
too many kids.
to be cooking
I'm
every
going
night.
so many places to be cooking at home every night of the week, right? But it's something that we reined in a lot because the amount we were spending on eating out was not in alignment with the goals that we had. But it's still something that's high on our priority list of wanting to be able to go, yeah, let's grab food tonight and not worry about eating, or just because we want to. That is was a big ticket on our budget. And so that was something that we had to take seriously when we were considering what we wanted to do with our money.
Well, you also, that gave you the freedom when you reined in the eating out, it gave you the freedom to renovate your kitchen. You guys also renovated a rental property all at the same time, I might add. But it's not that you stopped eating out so you could do those things. You got to pull back on how much you were spending eating out so that you could do these other things that you guys really wanted to do. It had been on your list for a long time. And one of the other things that we talk about is like your priorities can change, right? You could make a plan today for what your priorities are right now in this season. And then maybe you have a baby and your priorities change temporarily, or I don't know, for several years. But you get to change your goal. Therefore, you have to realign your spending. Is where I'm spending my money now aligning with the goals that I have now? And so the lab method, is something that you get to use over and over and over again for any season of life. You get to use it anytime that you change the goalpost or you add a new goal. And that's the fun part about it. It can flex and you can customize it to where you are in business, where you are in your life with your family, if emergencies come up. So it's really freedom instead of, we don't restrict you. First of all, we are never going to tell you what to do with your money because we don't want you telling us what to do with our money either. But we can give you some recommendations, we can give you guidelines, we can ask you questions to get to the bottom of where you actually want to be spending your money and where you should be spending it. Money's not meant to be hoarded away. And Marley knows I have a tendency to like squirrel away money because it's just kind of sort of how I was raised, but also like I just want to be prepared. I want like a safety net. And also, when I do spend money, I usually spend pretty big. And if I'm not aligning that big spending with the goals that I say that I have, that's when that really awful, like, what do they call it? Buyer's remorse comes in. And I just feel like, oh, I should not have done that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our listeners are probably thinking, well, I don't make enough money to have enough to reallocate from those other categories. Like that's a big misconception is, well, I'm not making enough money. So looking at what I'm already spending isn't really that worth my time
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have enough. I need more. And what's really interesting is that, I mean, myself, I was 5 months into business. I thought I was making about $5,000 to $7,000 a month. And when I started to look at my spending, it was more like $9,000 to $13,000 a month that I was making. So like as a brand new baby business, I was already almost consistently hitting 10K months and I had no idea. And I thought I was making half of that. And so a lot of what the thoughts are we have around what we do and don't have, and therefore what we can and can't spend, is based on a feeling. It's based on a gut. It's based on the emotions that you're carrying on how successful you are or are not at this point in your business. And it's not based on data. Like if we actually look at most of our clients' numbers, the story that they tell us is usually like 95% of the time way misaligned with what's actually happening when we get their numbers down on paper and can look at them in a bird's eye view. And they're always, almost always, 99% of the time, they've been really pleasantly surprised. We had a client, Kate, who thought she was paying herself a couple $1,000s a month, and it turned out she was actually paying herself, taking $3,000 to $5,000 in owner's draws every single month. And so that money was then just being mindlessly spent because she hadn't been tracking it. So she just hadn't been, paying attention to where it was really going until she actually got it down and really dug into her numbers. So usually you already have enough for all the things that you want, whether it's like travel. Even as you were saying that, Becca, I was thinking, it's travel is like what people say. And it's not that it's not travel. It's like, but it's also just like true time away from work, whether you're going away and booking a flight somewhere, or you're literally just taking time off, like uninterrupted, phone away, laptop closed.
Even on the weekends.
About sale. Yes.
Even on the weekends, like how many, and I know I have been guilty of this, especially in like a sprint season for us, right? But I love work. So I will sneak away on the weekends if I can get away with it. But what if you didn't have to? Like if you were working on the weekends, it was because you loved what you did and you really wanted to be there. But the feeling of having to work on the weekends or having to work at night is a direct correlation to your money. We can almost always link it right back to the way that you feel about your money and the amount of money you think you have or don't have. And so one of the things that we find for ourselves, but also our clients, is when you know your numbers, no matter what they are, it dumps all of that out of your brain that you've been trying to hold and think about and ask questions that you didn't have answers for. You have so much more room now to grow your business, to sell to more clients, and to sell in a way that is not desperate for money, right? So it's not just about taking that vacation. It's about taking that vacation and not worrying about sales. not worrying about money coming in while you're gone, not worrying about that DM that you might miss of that person who might want to buy. And I didn't have my computer with me. I was on vacation. That's not the vibe.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. You and I have been in a season of sprinting. I would say like November, December, January, February, right? Like for a full, we'll call it a quarter. We, not a calendar quarter, but a Becca and Marley quarter. We were in a sprint. We've been building a machine. We've been working at growing the business, making decisions with our money to reinvest in certain places and allocate it to help grow the beast. And one decision that we made, early on in this 4-month little season that we've been in, was that we want to, power through, get through it. Like we were just both really, really had our eyes set on the goal, and we were like willing to do what it took to get to this place. And we said, when we get there, we are going to get our priorities straight with our time, and take Fridays off again, and take a midweek little, mental break as well. So we're really taking an extra day. Like we're having long weekends every weekend now, really intentionally, so that we have more energy to put into our business when we are working. And all of that is only possible because we have our money so clean and buttoned up that we can do that confidently, calmly. It feels so good. We just got through the busiest season we've ever been in business, but we also know the value of our time and our energy. And money is time, money is energy, and being able to confidently take more time off is giving us the energy we need to go all in on the days that we are working, so that we can build this thing to 7 figures in the next 2 years. Like the freedom that knowing your numbers gives you is the missing piece to getting to that next level.
Well, Emily, one of our former clients, said that in her podcast episode. She said she wasn't even, $1 million was not even on her radar, because she didn't feel like she could handle the money that she had already. And so now, one of the things she said was, now $1 million is possible, because she knows that if someone handed her that today, she would know what to do with it. She would confidently be able to manage it and decide what was going to be used for what. And that's what we want for you too. So if you are a person who is listening and you're like, okay, you've sold me, I need to know my numbers, where do I start? You have 2 options. Mind Her Business is open for enrollment, and we just rolled out a new option for Mind Her Business, and that is the VIP upgrade, where we do your tracking for you. And the reason that this is an option now is because we know you're busy. We know you have a million responsibilities like we do, and we want you to be able to get to the decision making and to get to the align section so much faster, so you can have the confidence to make the decisions on where you are going to now spend your money and how that money is going to be used to get you to where you want to go financially, on vacation, taking weekends off, taking Fridays off, whatever it is for you. So if that is something that you know that you need, DM us the word ready on Instagram. Our handle should be in the show notes below us. DM us the word ready, and let's get you rolling. Like, it is the end of February 29th. We are rolling into the last part of the first quarter, and this is the perfect time to get your money in order, so the rest of the year could be growing your business and living the life that you really want to live with intention. If that feels like you are not ready for Mind Her Business, you need more of a baby step, that's okay too. We have the Find 5,000 challenge, where one of our clients found $6,000 that she had been mindlessly spending. She found that in 30 minutes, you guys. And I want to give you some hope that was only in the grocery category. She didn't look at shopping online. She didn't look at Amazon. She didn't look at eating out. She only looked at her grocery spending, and she found $6,000. That's a lot of money. That could take you on that vacation to Greece. I'm sure of it. It could give you a lot of weekends off. It could give you the peace of mind of a full savings account. It could give you whatever you want that to be. So you have 2 options. You can jump into Mind Her Business and let us do it for you, or you can grab the challenge, and then DM us how much money you found.
And we're going to link the challenge underneath, and we will also link the our Instagram handle so you can grab that there. We will see you in our next episode of the Rated R for Revenue podcast, and we hope to see you in our DMs.